Welcome back to Clydesdale Media, where we bring you the best from the world of CrossFit. Podcasts, news, special interest, health, fitness. If you like what you hear, hit that subscribe button. Hit the notifier so you're the first to know when we have new episodes. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome to the Clydesdale Media Weight Loss Journey. My name is Scott Switzer. I'm the Clydesdale. She is my nutrition coach and her name is Cheryl Nasso. And we are here to do my weekly check-in. So I'm going to turn it over to my coach to run this week's events.
I'm going to try and do most of the talking because I forced Scott through this week. I mean, didn't force him, but he's not feeling well. He's a little under the weather. So I know it's going to be hard. You're probably going to be some coffee, but we all get sick. So Scott, you are crushing it. I know last week I talked a little bit about the whoosh effect. So oftentimes what we'll see is that just before we're about to drop a couple of pounds, we get this like almost tight, like swollen feeling. Like we just kind of feel kind of puffy. And then whoosh, things kind of just change. And last week you hit 318 now we're down to. So we are cruising along. How are you feeling besides the actual flu that you have right now?
So my body feels great. Like the muscles feel good. The joints feel good. All of that is going well, especially this week. It's just this illness that hit me the weekend.
Yeah. And I think it was also probably coming on. We were talking a little bit about how like the fitter you get, honestly, the more you take care of yourself, you know, you're going to have a better immune system. Protein, guys, I was just talking about protein. It's great for the immune system. You know, there's a lot of benefits of amino acids for immune system. So we want to make sure we're getting in enough of those calories. When we're sick, though, our appetite is obviously going to be lower. So I'm giving him some grace this week. He has definitely been under eating, but I think that's honestly just when you're sick, you are not. And it really just started on a couple days ago when you got sick, but you've been doing awesome. You know, so the main thing that I talked about was protein. So I think the main thing is, what is your plan going into this week with being sick?
So I feel like I'm coming out of it. Like today is the hump day that I just need to get over. And my goal is to get to the gym tomorrow, but understand that I had a weekend of illness and that it may just be a move day.
Yeah.
And just kind of move through it.
Yeah. And I think that that's the smart thing, guys. When we're sick, like I always remind my clients is like, you know, when we're sick, it's good to move the body. Unless you're like so sick that you have like a fever and things like that. But going out and getting a little bit of sun, getting a walk in, those types of things are so good. So getting back into the gym and moving a little bit once you feel like you're not contagious anymore is usually the right thing. So it just helps your body.
I do want to point out, Cheryl, I do not live in Florida.
Yeah.
So going out to get sun, we haven't seen the orange ball in about a week.
Oh man, I forget about that. You guys need an artificial greenhouse or something like that, you know? So, but yeah, well, getting up and going for a walk, at least getting some movement is important. And yes, the sun does definitely help. And it's funny because every time I think about moving out of Florida, I'm reminded of that. I'm like, that's why I like living here, because year round there's a sun out. Now in the summertime, it's the opposite. Y'all get the sun and it'll be just dark and gray and thunderstorms all day. But for the most part, we do have decent weather. So yes, Bruce Wayne. Yes, it is. Every time I want to say that, I know his name's not Bruce Wayne. So your feedback last week, everything in your check-in was like pretty much like you were on fire. That's why I was excited for this check-in. And then you're like, I'm really sick right now, because you were like, I'm feeling good. I have so much energy. You're waking up better. And I think that maybe obviously the changes in your environment, in your house, I know that they did that whole cleaning. I think the changes in your weight coming down is all making sense. And then going into this week, I think that if you weren't sick, you'd be in a really good place. So anything socially coming up this week? Christmas parties?
Well, so now we're into the holiday season.
Yep.
So my family's Christmas party is this coming Saturday.
Okay.
And then over Christmas, I'm actually just spending it with my mom and nobody else. And my mom eats well, like eats good stuff. So I'm not even worried about actual Christmas. This week is probably, I'm planning that is going to be a bad day for me.
Yeah. You mean it's going to be a bad day for what reason?
Well, it's going to be my memory over macro day.
Right. So that's a good day. That's why I said
Yeah.
that. And that's the main thing, guys. I'm all about perception is I never, and it just comes from being somebody that I've been in therapy for nutrition before. We never want to associate like our behaviors as bad and good when it comes to nutrition. It really isn't. It's not a bad or a good thing. It's a choice. And, whether we choose to have pizza or we choose to have, dessert is a choice. And it does have a reason for it. It might be an enjoyment thing. Now, I guess the bad comes in is when we're never eating the good stuff, right? But I think having a day where you're enjoying yourself with your family is not looked at as a bad thing. That should be a good thing. That's a celebration. So, but I get what you were saying. And I know that you are in that mindset of like, it is totally healthy to take a day and just enjoy yourself a little bit with your family and not stress about things. Memories over macros for sure. Is fasting an option the day prior or after? Well, what's the purpose? Really, reality is I don't recommend that. And here's why. What is that teaching you? It's not really teaching you anything because one day doesn't really screw you up. Okay. One day isn't going to make or break you. Here's the deal is in order for you to gain a pound, you have to be in a 3,500 calorie surplus. Okay. So let's just say Scott's maintenance calories are 3,000 calories, which is whatever, random number, 3,000 calories. That means that day he would have to consume 6,500 calories to gain 1 pound. And that would mean that he had to, and that's very difficult to do. Like very difficult to do. So at the end of the day, having one day where you enjoy yourself, it's not worth it to do the fasting. It does nothing for you aside for set you up to probably eat way too much. Because guess what a lot of people do when they do that? They underestimate or they overestimate the power of that fast. Like, oh, if I didn't eat my 2,000 calories today, I'm going to have that much more to wiggle with tomorrow. They overestimate that and it ends up doing nothing for them on the day of the holiday. So it likely actually does worse because it actually usually sets them up to be eating more food. And the day that they're fasting, they're probably miserable. Their workouts probably aren't as good. So I honestly don't recommend it. I will have oftentimes clients that are going to social events. They might maybe like eat a little bit less earlier in the day to kind of bank some of those calories for the evening. But that's really just if it's a common thing that they have to commonly go out to eat for like social things, but not for a day like a holiday like that. Not at all. So long story short, no. So not a fan of fasting or I'll encourage restrict. Yeah, I agree with that. So this week, Scott, I feel like we don't have a lot to cover this week. And I kind of like that. I just want to stay consistent. I know that this week, the main thing was your weight is down. You're in the teens now. We are approaching the 310 mark. And I love that. And honestly, just forcing you to do this, even though you're not feeling well.
Yeah.
So
I will, just to follow up on what we talked about last week, the swelling in the excess skin has
yeah,
gone down. So it's not causing as much issue now. And wearing an extra pair of compression shorts has helped. So hopefully we can keep that from becoming too much of a problem before we get it completely taken care of.
that's good. Did you make an appointment with your doctor yet?
So I have one already right after the holidays. So I just figured get through the holidays and I would talk to him then.
Gotcha. Bruce just put a thing up. I fast on Sundays and don't have a problem with. So that's a different situation. That is a routine for you. What I was getting into was if somebody is fasting the day before or after for the goal of like being able to enjoy themselves better, that's not what I want. I don't want them to think that they have to earn that meal by fasting. If your routine is to fast on Sundays for whatever purpose that might be just your thing. And that is probably not going to set you up for any kind of failure because you're just used to it at this point. Do I think there's really a benefit to it? I'm going to be honest, not really. Giving you 100% feedback. So in fact, I would challenge you to try not doing it and see if you feel any different. Just a little case scenario, but I can maybe talk about that. Actually, my next podcast, I'm talking about fasting, so that'll be good for you. I just love that Bruce Wayne is actually talking to us today, Scott, because I don't want to make you talk too much. Any other things this week for you, Scott? I think that the main thing is getting the protein in. Last thing I wanted to mention is I mentioned to Scott, and I'm going to tell you again, is bone broth when you guys are sick. People typically look for like liquids, like soups and things like that. Using bone broth to make your soups and stews and things like that there's like 10 grams of protein in bone broth. So in 1 cup of bone broth. So it's a great way to just bump up the protein in a soup. I had this like super easy soup that I make where I just put some chicken thighs, boneless, skinless chicken thighs in some bone broth with some veggies. I literally don't do anything. I just put it in a pot and let it cook until the chicken shreds. And it's easy, quick, and it's delicious. So lots of salt, and it gets you some hydration as well. So that'd be the only thing I would recommend for you is getting some soup in, because that's the only thing is, at least you guys up in the winter, we don't really get to enjoy soup season. Like it's never really soup season here. So at least you guys get that. You're muted.
I have to do it once a show just so
Yeah.
Bruce knows that
Yeah.
it's actually me and not a robot. So I only eat soup when I'm sick.
Yeah.
I'm not a soup guy generally throughout the year, but man, when I'm sick, that's all I want.
Yeah. I saw a recipe on Instagram today for like a stew that looked really good. I'll send that to you too. Not that you want to be doing a whole bunch of cooking right now because you don't feel good. So rest is the most important thing. Rest, recovery, get your protein numbers up. My goal this coming week for you is I don't want any excuses on our check-in this week. I want to see at least 175 grams of protein a day. You know, you should be getting more than that, but I'll take a minimum of that for sure.
Yeah. And you had a minimum on carbs for me too. Can you reiterate that for me?
Yes, yes, I will. Give me 1 second because I don't have me. I wanted to make sure the thing wasn't going to ding on me. Okay. I put eat a little bit more. I know you're motivated. I can actually just read this to people if I wanted to. No less than 150 grams of carbs a day. Easiest way to do that is to make sure that you, basically I wanted to, other thing that I recommended for you as well is because you're having a hard time getting the carbs in, is post-workout is a great time to get carbs in. I would just have you make that meal after your workout be a little bit bigger. Make it a little bit more carb heavy. Add an extra half a cup of rice or whatever it looks like on there. That'll be an easy way to bump up the carbs in that meal and set yourself up for a better. Worst case scenario is you run out of carbs. And then later on in the day, you're like, oh, okay, tomorrow I need to adjust that. But better off to overshoot it right now because you're going under so much than undershoot it.
Okay.
So, but awesome. All right. Well, that's all I got today. Like I said, it was real quick today. I knew that things were going to be quick because I knew that he wasn't feeling the best. And I just want to make sure you stay consistent.
I do have a quick question on Bruce's last comment.
Yeah.
So the one soup that I do love is ramen.
Oh yeah.
Is ramen like, is there an acceptable way to make that where it fits into my plan?
It totally can. Any kind of ramen can. The only thing that I will find is if you're like me, I think I told you this like a year ago. One day I was just like really craving ramen, like the bok, like the package that you used to get at like where it's just like the old brick. That shit is so bad for you, but it's like also like I just wanted it. The only thing with a lot of the packaged ramens is that they're high in fat because they're typically fried before they dry them. But you can buy ramen noodles and make your own ramen. You can also find there's actually some healthier options that I can send you for if you want the pre-made kind. But you can fit any of it in. You could even fit that brick kind in that you used to get as a kid that were like what, like $5 for $1, whatever they were. They were like super cheap back in my college days. But yeah, you could totally fit that in. I also love ramen, super good. So I will send you a couple of the things that I found online for ramen.
Yeah, and I'd love to see your recipe, Bruce. If you would send it to me, that'd be awesome. He makes one with bone broth.
Oh, yeah. What kind of noodles do you use? I wonder if he uses because they make the noodles like this, so you can make them where you can make your own. I'm interested to see what his recipe is too. So, but yeah. So ramen, that's the goal tonight. Ramen, get you a ramen recipe. So, but you use the brick noodles.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they're the best ones. They're already done. But I did find a couple of different brands that I honestly would recommend over the typical top ramen ones. So, but at the end of the day, top ramen's fine too. So, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. I'm looking forward to that because I love ramen soup.
All right.
Well, with that, we will see you next time on the Clydesdale Media Weight Loss Journey.